that's the women showing, okay,
So
I'm gonna
rest of it
take
is
what
not.
you give me and make the best.
That's not submissive. That's not submissive for one. Okay, let's
Because-
squash this right here. If you have kids and you cook dinner, you're not being submissive to your husband. You're providing for your children.
That's being submissive.
That's not because
That's being
guess
submissive.
what? If that man's not there, you still gonna cook for your kids.
Of course.
So let's stop being submissive to the man.
But being
that has
submissive,
nothing to do with the man. No.
It does.
Anything with cooking does not matter because you would still cook if he was not there.
Hey, welcome back to Black Press. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Now let's get to
it. That was dry. Let me start over.
I don't know. Maybe you didn't think you were supposed to be introducing. I let you introduce because you always introduce.
Yeah. Okay. I do.
Oh, I'm gonna play that though. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back. I'm your girl Trish,
and I'm your boy Mr. Define,
and we are
Black Press. So, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce this next topic, and it's because honestly, I've been putting this off for a couple of weeks. I want to talk about it, just never got there, never got to it. But it's about blue collar workers and white collar workers, women and what they think, and yeah, we're just gonna get to it.
Asked me, okay, who would you date? This person, would you date blue collar? Would you not? And I said, I would date somebody who makes less money than me, but I probably would not date somebody who is blue collar. I do date men who have college degrees, and they said, well, why? Why not? And this is my real response. And this is a real issue that I've never seen people really reckon with, because I am a Black woman who has access to so many upper middle class, above average earning Black women. And I see how they've navigated their romantic lives. And this is different generations, different nationalities, different ethnicities, all Black women. And so many of them have, particularly older women, had no, college degree requirement, honestly, because if you're a certain age, you can't really have a college.
Right there. Stop right there. Right there, right there. So a lot of people would say she's coming off arrogant. She's, thinking higher than what she is. A lot of men would probably have issues with this. But we have to recognize that this is how women are now. And that women are not going back. Black women are not going back to the way we want it.
How exactly do you want it?
How many times have you yelled at me, yeah, I'm not going to be barefoot and pregnant?
Sure not.
That's what Black women think that we want.
But that's what they want.
To a sense, but not ultimately. What it is the idea of barefoot and pregnant is being
a homemaker.
Yeah.
Being the one that tends to the kids and keeping it sweet.
Yeah. But we're not in that era no more. We are not. And if you keep pushing for that era, you're just gonna be going through a lot of relationships where you find out that that's not out there. It's not there anymore. And then when she keeps talking about this, I'll talk about why.
College degree requirement and date Black men, like the pool just is not there. Had no income requirement and partnered these men, married these men, and the results were disastrous. The class difference, the resentment that comes from that is absolutely disastrous. Something that Kevin Samuels nor the rest of these men are really contending with is what happens when there is a large class difference, not just financial, like socioeconomic difference, but class difference, meaning what do you do for fun? Who do you hang out with? What books do you read? What newspaper? Like the idea that that is just going to be so easy for both parties to surmount is crazy. I have never seen that happen. What I have seen happen is women saying, oh, that does not matter. We can be partnered. And the men realizing, oh, I cannot fucking handle this. There is no attention paid to the resentment from men when they are on the lower class and they have to look up to their female partner financially and socioeconomically. And there's all of these things that you don't know, experiences that you have to learn. I have seen that firsthand. And I'm not saying that, trying not to yell anymore in the new microphone. I'm not saying that these men don't deserve love, care, and affection partnership. I am saying that because I have seen the deep resentment that those kinds of dynamics create, that I would not just suggest anybody just do that willy-nilly. Like it's nothing. Like, oh, who cares? It's just money. No.
So she makes.
So shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. I saw one of his episodes in it. I brought up the topic. And then shout out to For Harriet, I guess the young lady that made that video. I'm gonna let you go. What you got on it?
I can understand what she's saying, and I know where she's coming from. Like, if you're dating, you have to date for a purpose, and you have to be equally yoked. You have to have the same type of interests. You have to have the same type of hobbies. That whole opposites attract. That works in a certain sense, but at the same time, opposites don't always get along with each other.
What is equally yoked?
Equally yoked is y'all basically on the same level. You're not gonna date below your standards because doing that, as she said, causes resentment, causes
She said it causes resentment from the male.
The woman too. It does.
Yeah.
Because it causes issues in the household, like you're not pulling your weight, or
that's equally yoked.
You're pulling
equally yoked is when you got two oxen side by side tilling the ground, and one ox is pulling harder than the other ox, and end up going in a circle. You never stay in a straight line because one pulling faster or harder than the other ends up diverting the whole line that you're supposed to be putting into the ground. That's what equally yoked is. And the issue is, like you said, both are going to have that resentment. The one at the bottom is going to think that if the man is at the bottom, he's going to think that
he's not doing it.
He's going to think that she's being overbearing, really, honestly. Because she feels like she's doing the most work. She is going to require
more of him.
Yeah, require more. Treat him like he's like he's not doing enough. That's a big issue right there. Is the fact that a woman doesn't want a man that makes less. That goes way back to the Rihanna thing. She doesn't want a man that makes less, but she will settle for him and treat him like he's less than her.
And that happens a lot. Like,
that's a lot of reason why these modern marriages are divorcing.
Yeah. I feel like a woman would be more submissive if they're like put in a role of submission. Which is the man making more than her. It all equates to who's running the household.
Yeah, but the woman is running the household. There's no choice about that. There is not a choice that the man actually. Okay, you're right. There is a choice. So there's one time I was at this Falcons game, right? And I was with the significant other. This was super long ago, and we were at a Tampa Bay and Buccaneers game. A Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously. Tampa Bay and Buccaneers, but a Falcons and Tampa Bay game. And the woman I was dating was from Florida, and we had a couple sitting in front of us, and the man was for. I think he was from Tampa Bay, and his wife was from Atlanta. So she wanted to cheer for Atlanta, but she would not cheer for Atlanta because her husband was from Tampa Bay, and he was rooting for Tampa Bay. So she was rooting for Tampa Bay. And that was the first and only time I've ever seen a black woman actually do what her husband wanted.
What? That is not true.
That was the first time I've actually ever seen it. Like, she was full on submissive. My husband's rooting for Tampa Bay. I'm rooting for Tampa Bay. And I was
Black
at
women
that point,
are not that bad to the point where they're not submissive to their husband.
bruh. Yes, they are.
They aren't.
Yes, they are. And it's not all your fault, but it is your fault to continue. Once you identify it and you choose to continue that route, that's your fault. But the reason it's not all your fault is because nobody wants to submit to something that they don't believe is greater. Only time you submit to something is if that something is greater than you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, when the opposite spouse makes more and stuff like that, naturally you're gonna submit to them because you're kind of dependent upon them. That's where I think that's where the submissiveness.
No, you know why I say it can't be true? Because of so many women that have divorced rich husbands. Jeff Bezos.
But
Jeff Bezos.
A lot of times they lead to be in a better standing.
Better standing because they take the money with them. Basically. So they're not submitting to the one that makes more money. What do you mean you don't think so?
I understand what you're saying.
No,
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, we'll explain.
However, when you have a male, he's making more money. He's bringing the bacon home to the table.
Yeah.
The wife is supposed to prepare the dinner, supper, or however you call it. That's them being submissive. That's the woman showing, okay,
so
I'm gonna take what you give me and make the best.
That's not submissive. That's not submissive for one. Okay, let's squash this right here. If you have kids and you cook dinner, you're not being submissive to your husband. You're providing for your children.
That's being submissive.
That's not because guess what? If that man's not there, you still going to cook for your kids.
Of course.
So let's stop being submissive to the man.
But
that has nothing to do with the man. No.
It does.
Anything with cooking does not matter because you would still cook if he was not there.
Of course you'll still
then it's not submissive. That's you doing what you're going to do for your kids anyway.
No.
Explain why not. Explain. Because, so you tell me why you're not going to cook for your kids.
Because you're helping and you're providing to the children, right? So being submissive, that's me putting on a handkerchief. You can, a woman can go out and just buy like something. No.
I'm not talking about buying. I'm not talking about buying.
Okay.
I'm talking about
that's what
cooking.
I'm talking.
Let's focus on that part first.
That's a labor of love
for your children.
He's just getting
the big
everybody that's
chicken.
Eating it.
He's getting the big piece of chicken. Would you not still cook for your kids?
Of course, you
exactly.
Still cook.
So how does that count? If something you would do with or without him is what you're gonna do, what does that have to do with him?
So you don't,
all he does is get the big piece of chicken.
So you don't see cooking as like a labor of love.
No,
because you don't have to cook.
No,
you can go to the store. You can buy like fast food.
The only way you can say that is to add in a labor of love for him, not just a labor of love. Because yes, it's a labor of love for your children. Now, if you saying you're doing that specifically for him, and if you wasn't, then your children will be eating ramen noodles.
That's something
crazy. No, it does sound crazy for you to think that actually worked. Okay, so what does you cooking dinner for your husband add to if you would cook the same dinner for your children?
Your belly full at the end of the night, right? You go to sleep satisfied.
So like I said, you think because he gets the big piece of chicken, that's being
No,
submissive.
that is not it. The woman is cooking for you.
No, she's
And
cooking for the whole family. More if the,
Of course,
the
yes,
family.
the whole
Okay,
family. You're included
Okay.
in
say,
that.
say we only got one child, right?
Mhm.
And it's you, me, and then one child, and you cook dinner for the whole house, and you eat, and that child eats. How much? What percentage of that is going to not him, not me?
You shouldn't say
No,
the
no,
man
answer
only
the
gets
question.
33%.
I'm good. Yeah, exactly. So if 66% of what you're doing is for you and the child,
But
how is that
it
submissive
made
to
you
me?
100% full.
How is
You're
that-
not. Your
But
belly
how
not,
did?
your belly not 33% full.
Okay,
You're
but
getting.
here's the
You're
thing:
getting.
are you providing something
from
for?
that.
Are you providing something for that man that he can't already do by himself? See, because
Not
we
all
like
men
to
can.
act like we can't, that men can't cook,
Of course, some men can cook. Not all men can cook.
and some
Some of
women
them,
can cook,
they
and
can go
all
to
not
take
all
out.
women can cook.
Of
Most
course.
women can't cook.
Each other for the first time to discuss their experiences before returning home.
I don't believe that a man should cook or clean. We've been together 8.5 years. I've never tasted his cooking.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
They helped me in the kitchen.
Yeah, we help. I'm gonna strong arm this one, but it's the best meal I've ever eaten. Ever. That stuff is good. I genuinely like this meal, so it is like way eye-opening to me.
Thank you.
Go ahead and
I already had some.
You
It's
had some
amazing.
of this?
Yes.
It's good.
Amazing.
I also saw where you said that women should be seen and not heard. Yo, what's she talking about? I'm thinking this is a childish, chauvinistic dude. I was like, no, he's not the problem. I said, Carrie's the problem.
It's time for me to be happy inside of my home as well.
Is feeding you, right?
Let me add this part in.
Everybody's getting a piece.
Let me add this part in, right?
Go ahead.
If he's the one that's making the most money to provide that food, and all you're doing is cooking it, but 66% of that comes from you and the child that you gave birth to, how is that beneficial to him when he the one that made the money and brought the food?
He can get leftovers. I counted with his meal.
All I'm trying to say is to count that portion, the fact that of something that you would do with whether he was there or not, as you being submissive to him or providing to him, that does not make sense. It doesn't add up.
And I don't agree with that, because saying that negates the fact that you're laboring as well, because you have to labor over and cook.
But
cook
you
food.
would do it
just
if he
get
was
up
there
and
or
it's
not.
Of
Would
course.
you do it even if you
But
didn't have
would-
kids?
but would
so
you-
you're
okay.
saying that you doing what you need to do to survive is
and the man,
beneficial
the male
to
as
him.
well. He still has to get up and go to work,
If
right?
he can buy
He has to.
If he can bring home the bacon, he can order from a
A man
restaurant,
that doesn't work doesn't eat.
and he
right?
can order from a restaurant. So
But
he don't
still-
really
he still has to
need
get up and go to
what
work.
you're providing, if that's all that you're counting as submission.
That's not all I'm counting.
What
I
else?
said that's
Because
part of it.
you started talking, but I don't believe that's part of it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't believe
And
cooking.
we can agree to disagree.
I don't believe
because
cooking for the family that you would already had, if he was there or not, is actually part of being submissive.
We can agree to disagree. However, please put in the comments your opinion, because I have my opinion. He has his opinion, and it doesn't say that who from who is right.
Right.
There's no right and there's no wrong. It's just
There's
what you
somebody that
think
says
and-
right. When we get to heaven, I'm gonna ask. We're gonna have this discussion. Me, you, and Jesus gonna sit down and be like. Anyway, the other part I want to talk about
Okay.
was when she talks about white collar and blue collar,
Mhm.
because there is a difference, and when she's talking about class status, there's a difference, right? For one, a man that doesn't have the communication abilities, there's certain things that you get from a college degree.
Yeah.
And one thing that you get from a college degree is composition and rhetoric, where you have to actually, in writing, explain why you think something is what it is.
Mhm.
You have to pick a point of argument for or against something. So the big problem with men not being able to verbally discuss for or against something causes a lot of tension within a relationship. Especially because females and women are very communicative creatures.
Mm-hmm. Even without speaking.
Even without the education.
Nonverbal communication.
Yeah. Nonverbal communication and verbal communication. So women are automatically communicative and they know how to express how they feel or what they think they feel or what they think from what happened. The issue that comes into play is when a man can't do it and then he doesn't have any other way to communicate how he feels. That's a tie into domestic abuse because the women can communicate. She can say what she wants, how she feel, all this stuff. And the man, if he doesn't know how to communicate how he feels, then it gets to the point of, well, you won't stop talking and I can't win this argument. So I'm going to win it the best way I know how. That's a big issue in our community where it comes to not being able to communicate and then, or not being able to communicate what I feel and in a way that you can receive it. And that leads to, DV. Or the other portion is where the woman, regardless of how well he speaks and puts across the information, she's not going to receive it.
I think the biggest thing when it comes to communication is actively listening and being open and soft during the conversation. Because a lot of times when people are communicating with each other, especially when it reaches to a point to where it kind of gets hostile, where you start seeing the domestic violence and stuff, there's somebody that's already cut their ears off and is just blank and just waiting to respond to spring on to whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
But
for sure,
if we bring in softness and communicate to each other, like, okay, so I'm listening to you, I hear you, I understand what you're saying, and just letting that person feel.
But what if I don't understand what you're saying? Or what if
then you express that?
A big part, I think a big part is when I do understand what you're saying, I just don't agree with what you're saying. And
then you can agree to disagree. It doesn't have to be, I'm right or you're wrong. It doesn't have to.
If I disagree with you, mm-hmm. like I said before in different videos, if I disagree with you, you win. If I agree with you, you win. Yes.
It doesn't have to.
It doesn't result, have to be. But
that's
does.
What I'm saying. It doesn't have to go to, oh, you're winning, or I'm winning, or I lost, or it doesn't have to result to that. We had a conversation. We don't agree to the same thing. It doesn't mean that what you're saying is invalid or what I'm saying is invalid. It just means that I don't see your point of view, and that's not where my head is. So you have your opinion, I have my opinion.
Yeah.
And then we proceed.
But what about the level? There's levels, there's issues that can't proceed without mm-hmm. agreement. That's where the woman chooses to win. And cause if I disagree with you and you disagree with me and we decide that we're just going to disagree, the woman can walk away. And she wins. Yes, both parties can walk away, but she wins.
In what sense?
But the first sense she wins is she tells herself that she was right. Mm-hmm. So she already won in her head. Mm-hmm. The second part where she wins is if the issue continues to be pressed, she can leave and she still gets control over a portion of his finances.
That's in separations.
Yeah. If I come to you with the same issue over and over and over again and it's never being fixed, all you have to do is say, I'm not arguing about this no more, I quit. Boom. Now you're going to take yourself and the whole family.
It doesn't work like that.
When it doesn't. Because how many relationships wait a minute, because we're gonna keep getting back to this until we only. I don't care how many episodes it takes. When you, well, for one, women file for divorce more than men.
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
That can be a fact.
Wait, no, I'm not. That we know that's a fact. We know the percentages that women file for divorce more than men. Yes or no?
Because men.
No, so you're not. So are you saying that you're going to choose not to answer this?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
If women file for divorce more than men, so let's say some of those divorces have DV in it, and let's say even if we don't even say most, but we say half of those don't have any DV in it. Those arguments right there where she has filed for divorce is an exact result of she refuses to argue with him anymore, and she's going to pack her bags and leave. But she's not going to pack her bags. He has to pack his bags.
But okay, so how much do you have to discuss the same thing before it gets resolved? If you can't resolve it between each other, oftentimes you have to seek therapy. You have to, because of course somebody
women don't care nothing about therapy,
but listen,
unless therapy is telling her that she's right and the man is wrong. She don't care.
No, because when you go to therapy and you're voicing your concerns and stuff, they're gonna listen to both sides and they're gonna let you know the educated or correct response. Yeah. Be it you could be wrong, the other person could be wrong, but they're gonna let you know and they're gonna provide you with reasons why.
Yeah.
Then a lot of times with women, it has to be broken down to them so that they understand, all right, this is the reason why it's wrong. It's wrong because of this, this, and this. Unless we have that tangible evidence to understand, like, okay, this is why it's not wrong. It's not right on your side. Unless we have that, a lot of women don't understand, and they go with what they know. Basically,
that's the problem. That's the problem.
But that is the problem.
The problem is, unless I as a man give you 100% facts that you can never actually refute, which is next to impossible. Unless I give you 100% facts and I finally get you to understand and actually concede to the facts being correct, you can always say, I'm not going to talk about it, or I'm right. Therefore, if you keep wanting to talk about it, you can leave and I'm going to get this child support from you and you go about your way and I go about taking care of my business and I still win because in my head, I won. I was right. You were wrong because you didn't give me 100% fact where I could not deny it. And guess what? Even if you do give facts, she can still say, I still don't believe it. We can agree to disagree. Get out of here, man.
The man can say that as well.
Exactly, but guess who gets the majority of
course, majority. Yeah, majority is side with the woman.
With the woman.
Yeah.
So she automatically wins. She gets to win twice. She gets to win by choosing in her head, I'm right. I don't care what he says, unless Gabriel, the angel of Gabriel comes down to me like he did with Mary and tells me I'm wrong, I'm right. So until that point happens, I'm right. And if he don't want to deal with it, he can leave and we can get these divorce papers going. Then guess what? I'm still going to win because I'm going to get your money. So.
But that's why I say it requires for both parties to be a little bit softer, because if this person is bringing it to you and they're like, this is wrong, you're gonna soften yourself and open up your ears to hear.
No, you're not. It does not require the woman to be soft, because if she chooses not to be soft, she still wins. Why would she be soft if she knows she can win either way?
We can't always be on the offense.
I know, but we are.
Either.
We are.
You can't be defensive. That's what causes issues.
But that's the point. The point is, we are at over 75% of women filing for divorces. Black women filing for divorces. because she, at a majority, more likely than not, files for divorce. And if it's not DV, it's because she don't want to deal with it no more. She tired of arguing with him. So she's not being soft.
But in all honesty, how much arguing can a person go through before they throw their hands in?
Exactly. So guess what? If you never soften, all we do is argue. That means you're choosing to leave. And the real reason you're choosing to leave, reason you're choosing to leave is because you stood your ground on the points that you believed, and it don't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Because you say somebody has to soften, but it's never the woman. Not nowadays. It's not. She does not soften. She chooses her stone to stand on, and she stands on it strong. I'm not going to talk about it no more. You know what? This ain't working. We need to file these papers. Irreconcilable differences. Boom. Flat. Guess what? You better have that child support in my account on the 1st of every month. I show you. You want to argue with me? Tell me I'm wrong? You want to tell me I'm wrong? Over and over again? We got to keep having this argument? Bet. Sign this paperwork. Better have that money in my account every 1st of the month.
I don't know. Let me see. In certain situations, that happens. It doesn't happen all the time. But if you're in a situation...
But most of the time it does. 75%.
But if you're in a relationship and y'all constantly arguing, you have to.
Why are we constantly arguing?
There has to be some sort of outside source to help get y'all back on the same track.
It doesn't matter if the woman chooses not to follow the outside source. You can do how many? You know, I don't know the numbers, but I can almost guarantee that most marriages that go through counseling still end up in divorce.
Not from a good counselor.
I ain't finna argue that because that's the same thing on what we just talking about right now. You can always throw something in there. You can always throw something in there.
It's a monkey wrench.
Yes. No, not a monkey wrench. No. You're throwing a whole nother cog in there to try to make it work for you. You're trying to throw a cog in there to make that machine work for you. That don't make it actually work. I ain't finna up. Okay. Bottom line, she said, white collar, blue collar.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter. It would be nice because as we talk, even when we talk, if I keep telling you the same stuff, you still say, why we keep going up? Because I'm trying to get you keep one like we talked about before.
Sense.
A, B, and C.
That's what they be saying. That's
A, B, and C.
What they be. Make it make sense.
Right.
That's what.
Exactly. But here's the problem with make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it to make sense because it doesn't agree with what you already decided it is.
No, in all honesty, if somebody brings something to me and it actually makes sense, I'm gonna say, okay, you know what? I was wrong. That's the issue right there.
Don't believe
most people.
That's cap.
Most people.
Because you know why?
Most people don't know how to admit when they're wrong.
Let me tell you what that's cap.
Go ahead.
Because at the end of the day, the woman can say, it's not the best way to do it, but that's how I came up. She can always revert to, that's how I've always done it.
Mm-mm.
Yes. If I can say that's how I've always done it, that's what I'm used to. Now it means he has to understand that that's the way she is because of who she is. So it gives her a reason to stay who she is because he has to understand it. And if you don't understand, that's how I am because of how I grew up, then there's something wrong with you.
No,
That's something wrong with me.
No.
It's something wrong with you.
A woman that is fully confident and she's good in who she is okay with being wrong. Okay, you know what? I was right.
That's not true.
You can admit, you know what? You was right.
You know what?
That conversation you mentioned, you know what? You was right.
If she's fully
and I agree with you.
If she's fully confident.
Right. Yeah.
She's fully confident in herself.
If
she's fully confident in herself, why would she ever admit being wrong? If she's confident in herself. She has all confidence in her, not in his sayings, the thing that he wants, the things that he thinks could be the best answer. She's too confident in what she
Because you can learn from your mistakes, or you can learn from a no, or you can learn from being wrong. Because somebody steers you right. You know what? That actually makes sense.
Well, guess what?
That really makes sense. And then the wheels start turning, and then you change your mind. Your mind changes to be on the same track.
But 75% of the time, it's not happening.
Because nowadays people give up. People
who don't say people.
We
just discussed who has the highest divorce. Who's filing for divorce the most?
Okay.
So don't say people.
They file for divorce, but
people is when you don't know the actual numbers.
No, the reason the men walk away without filing for divorce. A lot of times when they walk away, they have side chicks and stuff that they deal with.
Now you're not being true. Now you're adding that to try to make your argument. That isn't that. So you're saying most men are start cheating.
They don't divorce. Most men, they step away from the relationship.
So you're saying most men do that
in certain circumstances.
So you're not saying most men do that. You're saying in certain circumstances.
No, I'm talking about the pool that you're talking about.
But I'm talking about the whole. Divorces. I'm talking about all of the black community.
But the pool that you were talking about
of divorces,
the divorces, those people.
So what you're doing is you're interjecting a negativity about men to try to make it seem like that you're interjecting something that's not known. When most marriages are filed, most divorces are filed for irreconcilable differences, that's not infidelity. There's an infidelity piece to sign.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not always just infidelity. They step outside of the relationship. It doesn't have to be infidelity. It can be
what you're doing.
Them stepping outside, putting more time into work and away from the house, just to not deal with what's going on in the house.
Yes,
a lot of times,
you know why? Because he knows he can't win anything. Why would he want to keep coming home early after work when he know he's just going to come into a house where she's not going to say that he's right about anything? It's going to always be what she stands on.
And that's where relationships break apart.
Right.
Because
she won't
they just keep
shift. She stands on that rock.
Mm-hmm.
She stands on that rock. She doesn't shift. She won't move. And then only thing she gets to consistently say that he's wrong because he doesn't move to her rock. She never actually shifts. Most times she never actually shifts her opinion. She stands on it, and then unless he comes up with 130%, 100,000 pound crane to pick her up off that rock, it's not happening, bro.
There's also the possibility that both parties can be wrong, and there's another way to do it, and you can find that out through going through therapy, going through counseling, having an elder come in and talk to you and guide you, having different role models. There's also that possibility, and that's how relationships can get better and work when we as a community come together and not see it just as, okay, this family over here, they're struggling. We seeing them struggle, and we're not pitching in to provide them with that direction. Because when you see two people arguing and one person think they're right, other person think they're right, no, just really look at it. Both of y'all probably wrong. Take it that way.
Yeah, and most of the time, both people are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to keep the marriage together is if the man takes the L.
No, it's for people, for both people to actually want to be in it and want to succeed within. Because if you're in something that you want to succeed in, you're gonna try your hardest in order to not fail.
But then I can point back to what you said. How long are you supposed to argue?
But that's what I'm saying.
Right. How long are you supposed to argue? But if the woman gets okay, even after that,
mm-hmm.
If the woman decides she doesn't want to argue anymore, she can leave.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're both supposedly putting in the same amount of effort, there's still disagreements that will happen.
Yeah.
And if the woman is always choosing to not concede, then the man has to take the L, or you just end up at odds over and over again.
If you're in a relationship and that other person isn't willing to concede, there's an immaturity there.
Yeah.
There's
for sure.
There's a growth that needs to happen and occur. And until that happens, you're still gonna be butting heads and arguing and stuff. So in order for and relationships is a relationship. Like you have ships that go on the water and has to go through like the rough tides and stuff like that. It's a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go and you're gonna grow. So you have to be in that space to where you allow for that other person to grow. Maybe
what do you do when you're allowing that person to grow?
You have to soften.
You take an L.
You have to soften.
You take an L.
Sometimes you do.
Exactly. That's my
Sometimes
point.
But
that's my point. You have to take an L.
Sometimes you do have to
that person grows.
Sometimes you do have to take an L. Yes, but you have to do it knowing that, okay, I'm gonna fall back on this one. I'm gonna let it ride. Just like the ship. I'm gonna let it ride. We're gonna go through some bumps, we're gonna go through some rough waters. But at the end of the day, when we come together and we start working on this thing, I'm gonna get that person to understand, to you're gonna show them different ways, because it really, really, really takes for an individual to step outside themselves and look at the relationship outside of actually being in it, and understand that it takes growth in order to get to where you guys need to be.
Yeah.
And to be on the same page.
They have to be discontent with their own ideas.
It definitely takes growth. And that doing that, it builds you up. Not in an angry way, but it builds you up in a strong way, because then you're able to face different issues instead of having to think it's a combat every time y'all argue. Sometimes it takes that person to fall back. You know what? I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna.
But you know that everything you're saying is right, but there's still what happens on the other side of taking that soft route, taking that L. It gets,
it's
so
detrimental.
What you're saying, because it goes back to what you were saying when you were saying she might file for divorce because he's left the relationship because he kept having to take the L and it never changed. If he had to take the L over and over and over again, waiting for her to actually see the light or change and grow, and she doesn't change or grow, he is forced with the idea of, do I stay in this relationship? Do I stay mentally in this relationship, emotionally in this relationship with someone who refuses to change? Or do I protect my children, like we were talking last week? Do I protect my children and have them try to grow up in a 2-parent household, and I just check out mentally? But then she realizes that he's checking out mentally. She blames him so that gives her reason to file for divorce. But in the end of it, we still don't get back to the fact that he had to take the L over and over and over and over and over and over again. How long am I supposed to take the L before I just disconnect myself?
Sometimes when it actually boils down and comes to that, in order to protect your own mental health and to protect your integrity and dignity, you have to step away. And
that's why most children are in single parent households.
Because
the woman steps away when the man is trying to stay. He stays. He would rather take the L. No, he does figure out how to work through it.
But you're not gonna step out.
If I can't get you to actually work through it with me because you refuse to move off that rock you're standing on, then all I can do to keep our family together and make sure, because my legacy is my full goal, the generational wealth and the generational success. And I know that is mostly in 2-parent household. So I take the L and I pull back. But now you're mad at me, or you're not happy with me pulling back because I kept taking the L. I'm trying to protect my own heart. And then that's the problem. The man is trying to protect his own heart by drawing back, but still staying. The woman is trying to protect her heart or look out for herself by leaving. You've been looking out for yourself the whole time. You've been looking out for yourself the whole time because you never shifted. You never took out that rock. Now he shifted to try to keep the family together and not go insane. And now you talk about you want to leave because he shifted away from you. You shifted away from him from the time you decided never to move off that rock.
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it takes for that other person to.
But if it doesn't happen,
leave no. But listen, it's essentially that person has to kind of like leave the relationship in order for that person to get that jolt.
Or she chooses to say you left the family.
Sometimes it just don't work out.
No, don't say sometimes. We know by percentages. Most times it just don't work out. Most times. Are you not going to admit to the percentage, the facts?
We can resort to the facts. Yes.
So most times it doesn't work out.
But I'm saying a lot of relationships are very. It's fresh. It hasn't grown. You have to give each other space to grow and go through some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way you can make it successful to have a relationship with a 2-parent household and happy kids. But you have to allow for growth for both sides.
Cool. All right. Let him or her grow as long as it takes.
Not as long as it takes. As long as
you can stand. And then when you can't stand no more, they gonna leave you anyway. I'm your boy, Mr. Define.
And I'm your girl, Trish.
And we are Black Press.